You are listening to the Horse Radio Network, part of the Equine Network family.
This is episode 140 of the Wisdom by WESA show on the Horse Radio Network. This is Mike Donnell.
And this is Sofia Yagela.
This podcast is brought to you by the Western and English Sales Association, or WESA, which provides the world's largest trade events for retailers, manufacturers, and sales representatives from the equestrian industry. In this podcast, we feature exclusive interviews with noteworthy Western and English industry personalities, retailers, and exhibitors who you've always wanted to talk to. Now, don't miss out on all the news from manufacturers and retailers in the equine industry. So, Sophia, some of our listeners have been asking about something about a second show on the podcast feed. What's that all about?
Yes, so technically it is not a separate show. It's the Retail Roundup audio. So we host weekly webinars and interviews for the Retail Roundup. And for anyone who can't attend those live sessions, we then upload the audio to the Wisdom by WESA podcast feed. And again, the Retail Roundup is the virtual hub via Facebook for retailers to connect and learn.
Is there a video from that feed?
Yes, every session is recorded for audio and video, and that is then uploaded to the WESA Trade Show YouTube channel. So you have 3 options to join. You can attend live, watch on YouTube, or listen on the podcast feed. And that way you can really just choose what works best for you and follow that way.
Okay, and you mentioned something about tips and tricks. What kind of tips can people get?
So recently we had guests like Ashley Alderson, Shaylee Ham, and Brianna Brown, and they shared insights on topics such as marketing during the busy holiday season or in-store tag strategies, and also collaborating with influencers. So don't forget, you can join the Retail Roundup live every Monday. We have many more topics coming up, and you can just join via the Retail Roundup closed Facebook group. Or, like I said, just turn on your notification for the podcast feed and the YouTube channels, and you can join that way as well.
How about that?
It's a really fun group, and I really think it's a great resource for retailers just to learn more and engage with each other, and especially now leading up to the show. It's a good way to get started prior to the January WESA Trade Show.
Okay, thanks. Kelly Grindinger, owner of Kelly's Market, has carved a successful niche in the Western world by focusing on products and services specifically for the boutique retailer, and prides herself on representing many lines from women-owned manufacturers. A longtime supporter of WESA, Kelly is currently in the midst of an expansion into new space in the Dallas Market Center. Kelly Grindinger, thank you so much for joining us on Wisdom by WESA.
Thank you all so much for having me, and what an honor to be asked to join this podcast. So thank you very much.
Well, you are our 140th guest.
Woohoo!
So we've been doing this for a while. We get a chance to talk to a lot of really interesting, creative, successful people in the Western world, the Western retailing world, the Western brand world, and you certainly qualify. Maybe for the benefit of our listeners, give us a bit of your background prior to and starting Kelly's Market.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Well, I grew up in Dallas and also on our ranch out in East Texas. So I feel like I was born with a pair of cowboy boots on. When I was in college, I went to market with my cousin who owned a boutique. And when she finished writing an order with the sales rep, he asked me if I had any questions. My only question was, how do I get on your side of the table? And it was right then and there that I knew I wanted to be a clothing rep. I was very blessed to work for quite a few reps and manufacturers in our business, both in the apparel fashion world and also in Western. I think it was probably about 1990, I crossed over into Western, and I absolutely loved it. Some of the nicest boutique owners are in the Western industry. And I just love the camaraderie, the family atmosphere, good working relationships, and everything they have to offer. I was thinking back.
When did you actually create Kelly's Market?
Oh, that started actually 4 years ago. So,
oh, really?
Yes. So I've worked for a lot of, let's see, I'm trying to think some of the older brands. These are going to be from probably around the 90s, which was Mine and Bill's, Banjo Western Wear. I did some work for them. Let's see. One of my favorites was Western Celebrities. We did screen printed t-shirts of world famous cowboys. We did like a headshot, an action shot, and then we had their autograph on them. And they were cowboy legends like Tuff, Ty, Jim, and Lane. And they all received royalties off these t-shirts that we did. And we were doing a lot of private label back then. So I feel like I've been in every aspect from repping to manufacturing in this industry. And it was probably, I think it was 4 years ago. I worked for a rep for the last 15 years, and he had a showroom, and I pretty much ran his showroom for him. And I guess I was like showroom manager and salesperson. And in the middle of the gift show in 2021, he looked over and said, "I'm done." And I'm like, wait, well, gosh, where am I going to find a job? I had a child in college still, and I was like, I wasn't ready to retire, that's for sure. And he gifted his business to me, and he thanked me for 15 years of hard work and loyalty. And I pretty much burst into tears. And then we immediately started working on my business plan. And the first thing he said was, "Don't keep the name, make it you." And we had came up with the name Kelly's Market because probably it was because all my friends would be like, "Well, where's Kelly?" "Oh, she's at Kelly. She's at Market." And so it always seemed like that was my whole life, was I was always at Market. So.
Well, and it sounds as if you've kind of found the niche. Were you always focused on the boutique side of the retail industry, or has that been a transition into that focus?
I would say it's been Western. I went back over to boutique, and now I'm transitioning back over into Western, along with my boutiques.
Give me your definition of boutique.
A fashion boutique, and I sell only to small stores. So it would be like your mom and pop store, or even local hardware stores have started carrying women's clothing and shoes and accessories.
Interesting. So then you decided you needed more space.
I did. Oh my gosh. I was very blessed.
Might as well add overhead, right?
Exactly. They are. So when I first started, I wanted to start small and smart. So what I did was I started off in the Temps at Dallas Market Center. And I did that for about a year and a half. And then I moved to a showroom up on the 15th floor. And I started with WESA I think it was in 2022. And so I had a showroom up on 15, but then I was doing my WESA booth downstairs on 11 and growing both of my businesses at the same time. And actually, it was just a couple of weeks ago, Dallas Market Center said they had a bigger showroom for me. They started construction today. So I'm doing this instead of getting in the way of the contractors. They're very grateful for that. And we're moving to a bigger showroom, and it will be ready for the January market.
Well, congratulations to you for that. I know in some of the material that I read that I don't know if it's on purpose, but I suspect it's on purpose, that you are repping a fair number of brands from women-owned manufacturing companies.
That is correct. Kelly's Market does specialize in woman-owned manufacturers. And I would say I think right now we're at 93% woman-owned. So business is woman-owned, of course, the showroom is, but our manufacturers are as well. So
So
we're really,
if I know, or one of our listeners knows of a woman owned manufacturing company in this market niche, and they hear this show and they say, gee, it's interesting. I should have my friend, they should carry her lines, whatever that line might be. So what's the screening criteria, and how can a new line be represented by Kelly's Market?
oh, well, that would be awesome. I am always open to looking at new brands. One of the things that I do when someone, I just had someone approach me recently about their company. And after reviewing the line sheets and they went through, we did a little Zoom call together where they presented the brand team of my current collection, because we have become your one-stop showroom for all your boutique needs. So if you walk into, let's say you walk into a boutique in Dripping Springs, Texas, there's a boutique there. And when you walk in, you're going to see a little bit of paparazzi in her store, a little bit of Shawl dolls, some A&A, some Janice flannels. She also carries cowboy boots. And so that's one of the things I do when I'm looking at a brand. I want to make sure that it fits in and doesn't compete with anything else that I carry.
What do you look for in terms of the company itself?
Integrity, honesty. I'm pretty good about reading people. And I think that's a big asset of being a business person, is I want to make sure that they fit well with my team and with my other manufacturers. We're like a family. Last market, I was looking for a way to kind of take some of my manufacturers out on the town. And one of the things that what I decided to do, instead of just taking them out to a really nice dinner, I actually took them to a fundraising event for a local nonprofit here in Dallas. And they had the best time. So I just bought a ticket for them to go. And it was like a chef classic. And we had like well-known chefs from the Dallas area, one of them being Jane Farron, who's very well-known in Dallas. And we got to go around and try different things the chefs had created. And what was so wonderful is my manufacturers it was just like family. We're like a big, no one's competitive. We cheer each other on. And it was just such a wonderful time that evening. I had 3 manufacturers with me, and what's really awesome is they got to participate in a nonprofit that is very dear to my heart. And 3 of them have sent care packages to the nonprofit to donate extra samples at the end of the year or something for their silent auction for next year.
What do they need to be able to deliver in terms of volume?
As far as the manufacturers?
Yes.
You know, everyone's a little different. So a lot of it depends on where they're being manufactured. I know, some brands have certain minimums that they have to meet. Some of them are really small. I have one company that I'm with is a very small woman-owned business in India. They do beautiful embroidery and they custom make everything. So for every order I place, it's just a custom order. So there aren't really high minimums that they have to meet.
Okay. Now let's go to the other side of the street. And I am opening, or I have a boutique, and I've come across this interview, or someone has told them, and they're saying, gee, they look at the website and they see that they produce something you don't have, and they're pretty proud of it. How do they hook up with you so they can get that Zoom call that you mentioned before and be considered to have you carry the line?
Well, I consider myself to be extremely reachable. I had a store who sent me a message at 6:00 in the morning yesterday asking for a line sheet. So I just reach out either on my email. Everything's on my website at shopkellysmarket.com, including my cell phone number. And I answer on the weekends. I answer, even in the Western stores, they're busy between the hours of 10 and 6. And then sometimes it's later in the afternoon or in that early evening that they think of something they need to reorder or ask me a question. And the same thing with manufacturers. I'm extremely reachable.
Man, I know you've been a supporter of WESA, involved with WESA. We are WESA. Yeah. Chat a bit about Kelly's relationship with WESA and vice versa.
Oh, absolutely. I was so excited when I was building my business, and one of the first things that I had written down on that my vision paper of what I wanted to accomplish with Kelly's Market, and one of the first things was to join WESA. And I remember coming up there, it was the August 2022 and everything. And I said, I really, really want to do this. This feels like home to me because the companies that I had worked for in the 90s had all been WESA members as well. And they all had showrooms out in Denver and all of that back then. And I just really couldn't wait to make that a part of my showroom. I have a small booth. And I try hard to decorate it well. I even had some authentic Four Roses bourbon barrels in my booth that I use my props and play, and I have it set up where it kind of looks like a barn. But I was just, so excited to branch over into Western. I'm a cow boots girl. Like I've my nice little collection of cowboy boots over the years. And whenever I wear any of my samples or clothing from my showroom, I'm always in jeans. I'm always in jeans and boots. And one of the things that I love so much actually about one of my brands, GS Flannels, we did a special ball cap, and we did this to honor he was the 2021 Wrangler Bullfighter Hall of Famer, Kirby Burney. And we used the money from the boutique, Western stores. I call everybody boutique. The Western stores that purchased that hat, which was a famous photograph of Kirby going over the horns of the bull as he was protecting the bull rider. The proceeds of that hat went to help pay for Kirby's medical supplies, saving that money, and that will go on to the next bullfighter who is in need. And partnering with WESA and being a part of the WESA family allows me to be able to give back to the community that supports the Western stores, that supports WESA.
That's wonderful. Oh, I was going to ask also, just to clarify, are you only selling to the retailers, or are people also buying online from your website?
No, I'm definitely in business to business.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify that. It's been great learning more about you. We wish you a great deal of luck in your brand new venture. It'll be fun to have a bigger space, not only to interact with customers, but to present to manufacturers, because you're becoming an even more viable outlet for them to reach. I'm sure that there are going to be more manufacturers and retailers reaching out to you after the WESA show and after they've listened to this. And so we appreciate you taking the time to be with us here on the Wisdom by WESA show. I wish Casey had been here as well. You would have loved talking to her, and we're going to tell her that she missed a great show.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
The show notes and links from today's show can be found at wisdombywesa.com. And if there's feedback, we'd love to hear it. There is a contact link on the website.
The Wisdom by WESA show will be published on the 15th and 30th of every month. You can listen on any of your favorite podcast players. You can also listen on wisdombywesa.com. Be sure to visit all the great shows on the Horse Radio Network at horseradionetwork.com. WESA, where the industry meets.